Welcome back to Around the Table with Stacy Smith as we're talking about politics. Hedge fund manager Dave McCormick lost his bid for the primary for the GOP Senate nomination in the spring. There is now talk that he may try it again and then try to garner the GOP nomination for the Senate in 2024. So, Governor, how successful can a candidate be who lost an election in his last attempt?
Well, there's a lot of instances of where a person has lost and won. You go back to Garfield, who ran for president, won, ran again, lost, ran again, and won. You go to Nixon, who ran in '60 against Kennedy, lost, runs in '68, and wins at that point in time. So it's not impossible. The positive aspect of this is that he spent a great deal of money getting people to know him. And across the state, he now has an organization of people who support him. That gives him a leg up in the Republican primary over anybody else that's going to go out and talk about running for that Senate seat. And I would not be surprised to see the state organization try and maybe clear the field so we're not spending a lot of money in the primary. We can save that money for the general election.
You don't have to look much further back than Richard Caligiuri and Bobby O'Connor, even in the city of Pittsburgh, two candidates who ran, lost, and were subsequently elected mayor. It's no great secret that you learn far more in defeat than you do in victory. And if you've had a recent defeat and you've had an organization behind you and you've come close, especially, that's a great advantage if you take another shot within some relative time of that last election.
I think everyone could lose an election. I think there are examples of people that lost multiple elections, but generally you can lose one, it's not going to be an issue. You lose more than one, in general, it's a political obituary. So there is some risk associated with McCormick coming back, and he's going to have to win this one if he does indeed engage in the 24 sweepstakes for the United States Senate. I agree with the governor. I think the Republicans have learned a big lesson, and I think there's going to be a very organized effort to narrow the field in 24 to make sure that there isn't multiple candidates. And I would not be surprised if there is going to be a strong movement from party regulars to hand this mantle to David McCormick, primarily because he can be a self-funder. He not only heads up a hedge fund, he heads up the largest hedge fund on the planet. So he can literally put tens of millions of his own money into this race to make a credible run for this office.
Now's the time for him, I think. Many in the GOP regret nominating Dr. Oz. Donald Trump helped make that happen when we all know what direction he's heading. He has infrastructure around the state. I believe the state Republican Party and other Republican operatives and activists wish they had voted for him or put him on the ballot. Many of them think if he had been the nominee, the result may have been different in Pennsylvania for the U.S. Senate. So while everything is still fresh and he has the infrastructure and he has the inertia, I would be shocked if it was anybody but Mr. McCormick running for U.S. Senate in 24. And I do suspect Keith and Governor and Professor that they were probably already starting to work to make sure that he is unopposed and there's no primary drama, because they're going to need every dime and all hands on deck to go after a powerful incumbent like Senator Casey.
Well, he has yet to announce. Is Casey going to run again, Jim, in your opinion?
In my opinion, he will. I would be shocked if he did not. By all accounts, he seems to be, putting all the indicators out there. His actions and his leadership remind me a lot right now of the interaction I had with him in 2010, 2 years before he ran. So he seems to be doing all those things again now. I would be astonished if he did not run again.
Keith, I want to get into this in another segment, but on another date, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out to you right now. When Santorum lost in 2006 to Casey, what will McCormick have to do to pull off what Casey did to Santorum?
Well, every cycle is different. I mean, it really depends on the timing of it all. I hate to say that, but political timing dictates so many elections. And the timing, although Senator Santorum lost the election in 2006, it was a Democratic sweep across the nation. Mm-hmm. He was actually running to the right of an unpopular president because he wanted to make a point on the issues that he stood for that year and said, hey, if I do everything you want me to do, and soft pedal some of this stuff, I'm still going to lose by 3 or 4 points. I'd rather go out with a blaze of glory and have something to stand on after the election. And that allowed him to be a contender for the White House 6 years later, because he did stand for something during that loss. So in 2024, I think the tea leaves on the national situation and the timing are going to dictate both these candidates. I actually think that Senator Casey may choose to stand down. He's had a long, decorated career. If it doesn't look like it's going to be a good year for the Democrats, there might not be a reason for him to seek a 4th term. He might just want to go out a winner, because you have to stare down at McCormick and know the $50 million man could put on a hell of a race. So I think it's more about timing than anything else.
You know, I knew Bob Casey, Auditor General Casey Keith in 2006 was going to win. All the signs were there. We had this situation. I don't know if I've ever shared it with you, but right before the election in 2006, he wanted to go to mass. He and I are both Catholic, and so we went to the St. Nicholas Croatian Church in Millville. The only time available was 8 in the morning. That was the Croatian mass. So we're in the back, and being former altar boys, when to stand, kneel. We didn't need to understand. And when they came back for the offertory, they said, "Mayor Byrne, thank you for being here. Senator Casey, you have our support. We did not know you spoke Croatian." So we knew it was going to be we knew he was going to have a good day.
All right. We have to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment.